Well, in tough economic times, self-indulgent vacations often are the first thing to go. People simply can't afford them. Sometimes all that sunning and snoozing isn't very fulfilling anyway. There is a company called Global Volunteers that offers an alternative. And Bud Philbrook is the co-founder and president of this nonprofit, non-sectarian organization. It sets up volunteer work experiences in rural communities and places around the world. Mr. Philbrook, what is the objective of your company? What are you seeking to achieve?
Well, primarily, Reed, what we're about is trying to provide volunteers the opportunity to work with and learn from people in developing communities around the world.
What sorts of work do they do? Is it the work they accomplish or the relationship they develop that counts?
Well, it's the work they accomplish, it's through the work they accomplish that they build relationships that allow people to gain a genuine understanding of how people live out their day-to-day lives. So they do all kinds of work, from building medical centers to teaching English to working on a community center or any other kinds of infrastructure kinds of activities that you might work on in a rural village in a developing country.
All right, let's enumerate a few of those skills or professions, in fact, one might engage in to qualify for this.
Well, really, there are no particular skills. While we're always looking for people that have specialized skills, I happen to be an attorney and would suggest that, therefore, I have no skills. But people who...
You said that.
I said that, that's correct. Right. What we're looking for is people who have the skill of a desire to share who they are and what they have with other people, to work with and learn from, to work with hand in hand with other people, and to learn from them in the process.
All right, so one might do construction, as we see here, and I suppose you could be a farmer, a teacher, or someone with a skill that just might be lacking in the place to which you're sent. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. We work only on projects that local people ask us to work on. We work hand in hand with local people, and we always work under the direction of local people.
How do you get your clients? Do you work through the State Department, through private industry, or what?
Do you mean how are we invited to particular villages? Oh, yeah. Each country has its own story, but we're always invited by normally a local host organization, whether it be a large university or, for example, in Poland, it's Rural Solidarity, or oftentimes through just a community-based organization, through which they invite us to come and work with them on a particular project or a set of projects.
All right. Is this a sort of a Peace Corps offshoot, would you say, or is it sort of VISTA but in service to the world?
Well, it's been called by other journalists as a Peace Corps type thing. That the main difference is that this is for 2 or 3 week time periods. So the average American can take their vacation and do it during that period of time.
All right. Now, although this is certainly egalitarian, there's sort of a self-serving thing that does enter in that we understand it could be a tax-deductible venture of some sort. Is that true?
That's correct. We're a 50C1 tax-exempt organization, and therefore all of the costs of the trip are tax-deductible. And that makes it really affordable for most folks.
But what about the concept that the United States is looking inward now, that its global vision has changed considerably, and it's back to sort of me and thee?
Well, we think that that's very important as well, and we also work in the United States. We have a project in the Mississippi Delta, and I just led a team there in November, and it was one of the most profound experiences of my life, working hand in hand with a community of African Americans. It was a delightful occasion to work with them, and we expect to expand throughout the United States in the coming years.
Where do you find the biggest need? What part of the world really could use the help?
Well, right now, in addition to the countries where we're working, which are all over the globe, we're going to expand into Russia. We think that the work that's needed to be done in Russia may be the most important of all time. If we think about the number of men and women we lost in the Korean War and in the Vietnam War, and now we have an opportunity to make a tremendous impact in helping the people of all of the republics of the former Soviet Union, we believe that that is perhaps the most important place that we can dedicate our efforts.
Have you made overtures to the governments in place there, and what do they say?
Well, we've been invited by 2 communities in Russia, and I'll be traveling there the end of February, the first part of March, to put together that arrangement, and then we hope to send up to 4 teams to Russia in 1992.
Have you filled them out yet? Do you know who's going?
No, we haven't, but if any of the viewers are interested, they can contact us in St. Paul, and we'd be delighted to visit with them about those trips or any other trip that we have going to villages around the world.
What sort of feedback do you get from the establishment, the State Department, for example?
Well, the State Department actually has been extremely helpful. While we're not directly connected with the State Department or with any other government for that matter, the U.S. State Department has, in the context that we've had, have been very, very supportive.
Do you find it sort of an advantage to say, look, we're not part of a government here, we're part of a people?
Oh, that's a tremendous advantage. Americans around the world are generally loved. Our government, on the other hand, is not always, that's not always the case. And so be able to tell folks that we're non-governmental, that we're non-sectarian, that this is just a people-to-people operation is very important and extremely helpful in building the human relationships which are so important to what we do.
Thank you. That sort of gets this fresh new year off to an affirmative start. And we appreciate talking with Bud Philbrook. He is the co-founder of Global Volunteers. Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you very much.